Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Chase. So we'll look at S&P 500, ES. We'll look at Bitcoin. We'll look at Ethereum. Let's get right into it. So first things first, I want to think about the fundamental landscape, right? As far as CPI goes, inflation came in better than expected. We saw a little pump off that, but then Powell reiterated, during FOMC that they're not looking to cut rates anytime soon. They're looking at higher rates for longer. Higher than the previous meeting had anticipated, or what they had released in the previous meeting. So now higher for longer. Overall, this is a hawkish, bearish tone. And as far as the market goes, the market has been reacting. I wanted to get short off of a sweep. Or I wanted to get long off of a sweep. But now the sweep to the downside target is gone, so I'm no longer really interested in that. We'll have to see how things shape up. And also, you guys may not like the overall message of this video, but I think that the markets are getting, just less volatile. I think we're moving from more of a downtrend to more of a range-bound situation. And it just feels like volatility is dying out a little bit. What is this? Like, this sweep occurred on the 1 minute, just the fastest wick, and then you never got anything again. It's just terrible. Like where's a real sweep to get short? Long story short, in my opinion, the market is not acting as it typically does. I think conditions are changing a bit. It may just be as we're coming into the holidays and things are drying up a little bit. But long story short, I don't have the typical confidence in my ability to read right now that I usually do. Okay, so a lot of people won't tell you that. A lot of people will just say, "Oh yeah, it's going here, it's going here." But I try to keep it real with you guys, and if I feel like I don't have a solid read, then I feel like I don't have a solid read, and that's what I'm going to tell you. I'm making this video anyway because so many of you guys asked for my updates. I'm happy to do them, but I don't feel like I have a solid read. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water, and we'll keep getting into it. So, I guess we got to treat it for what it is, right? Let's just say this is a sweep. Even though it feels bullshit to me. I don't know if it comes back up and resweeps it again. Maybe it does. We have a demand level here. We sort of had a bit of a... Whoops. If we mark out these lows too, if we hit demand, we reclaim the lows, maybe we come up for another resweep. But again, my confidence is really low here. You have the 200 moving average. If we break through the demand, look for that level to provide at least a short-term bounce. And if we break down below it, we may start seeing a situation like this where the 200 moving average is going to flip to resistance for a little bit of time. This is the 200 weekly moving average. You could see the respect that the market typically gives it. And when it finally did break down through it, right? Pretend that this is sort of your wick here. This is your wick here. And when it sort of broke down through it, it slipped as resistance for a little bit. Okay, so we can keep an eye on that turning to resistance if we break down through. That's really it for ES. I would keep it to, if I had to have a strategy, if I said, I really need to lock in, or if I had an arbitrary goal or something for the coming weeks, I would probably really just try to break it down into like daily levels. So I would say okay, this is pretty much your next daily level right here. You had resistance before the impulse moved through. You would expect that you'd have some sellers from here that may look to get out at break even. That could provide some buy pressure off this level. So what I would do is I'd be moving down to your lower time frames. I'd wait for the market to open. I'd see maybe a deviation of this level, a reclaim. That would be my stop below there. I'd look to get long on the retest, and then I'd target, say, if it comes from here, I could target, let's say, the 618 or something, or the 705 of this move, and that would be like my take profit. So I would only be looking at short-term intraday setups. I would use high time frame levels like daily levels in order to try to find those trades. I wouldn't necessarily expect that the daily level would hold super clean. I would probably wait for some type of a deviation of the level, etc., or I'd work within the level. Okay, so if this was your daily level right here from top to bottom, and we went inside, and instead of that reclaim, you got a rejection like this, well then maybe I play it to the other side of sort of this daily block. Okay, so that's the type of trade setups I'd be looking for on ES if you're trading ES. Let's move into Bitcoin. So looking at Bitcoin, big breakdown, putting a low on the weekly time frame at the moment. We can see rejection, 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 rejection. You get a sweep here. If we bring it down to the daily, we'll see the sweep liquidity, pretty clean. Wish I was focusing more on BTC than I was on ES, but realistically, I wouldn't have entered a trade here anyway. I'll show you why. I mean, we didn't even get up above the, we didn't even get above the 0.5. I'm not going to take a macro or a swing short if it's not a major retest, right? So I was looking for a big sweep of liquidity, like this high or something, get up into here, 618. You have a sort of chunk of support here before you break back down, and people would be looking to get out if anybody bought. Basically, if anybody bought in these wicks, right? So someone bought here, look at this wick, somebody bought here. And if they were looking to get out, you see that flip to resistance confluent with, I just explained this stuff to try to build confluence, right? So you would have that confluence with the 618705, and, you would also have the confluence of sweeping this liquidity right here. Okay, that's 3 levels of confluence. That's enough for me to take a trade. I would have been interested in that. But we never got that, and all we got was a sweep of this high, which is nice, but it didn't even tag the halfway. If I'm looking for a short, it's typically going to be in here, and maybe if I'm feeling loose or something with my scenario, or if the criteria adds up and I can see other levels of confluence around the 0.5, then maybe I could get in at the 0.5, but we didn't even get that. So in my opinion, you got a sweep. It's pretty weak. If you were to just mark this out as a range, we know that the fundamental side of thing is bearish right now from the FOMC and then how Powell was speaking. I really don't know. I mean, I guess first things first is it looks like a sweep of this low is good, combined with you have this level right here, right? So you're basically your resistance, this downtrend that we had here. So you see that downtrend, and then you had your last resistance before the breakthrough, okay, so before your impulse move up. So 16.5. 16.5 would be next on my radar. You probably get a little bounce from there. If you flip 16.5 to resistance, then most likely going to be taking out this low below there, and we probably retest the range lows again. Again, not extremely confident with where price goes in here, and I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't do all the stuff I talked about and it just chops the level, comes back up, chops the level, comes back up. Like, it may just be shit for a little while, okay? And that doesn't mean I just clock out, right? What that means is that I say, well, let me see what the market gives me. Let me see if it looks like there's an opportunity. And if the opportunity does come, like I talked about on ES or like I talked about on BTC, I take a trade. Okay, it doesn't work out. Okay, I take another trade. It doesn't work out again. Well, then I'm going to say, okay, this is fucked right now. Let me take 2 or 3 days off, come back and look at it again. If it comes down and it works out and I just get a nice bounce and I get to take a trade and it plays to profit, then cool. I'm just going to keep rocking these little intraday trades, little scalps, and I'll keep those going. But yeah, we got to let the market present itself right now because in my opinion, we're not seeing anything that's extremely high confidence or high hit rate. Moving into ETH, you have the same type of situation, right? You have a high or you have a low, you have a high, you swept the high. Typically, you go back down towards the low. Again, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just chops in here for a bit. So, a lot of people are asking me for ETH analysis. It doesn't look like anything special, right? You had a low, you had a high, you swept the high, you come back down into the demand, and you're sort of seeing that trend amongst everything, right? Like I just talked to you about the demand level here, okay? It's the same thing on BTC. There it is. There's your demand level. If I could click my keys, there's your demand level. If you go over to ES, you go to the daily, there's your demand level, okay? I mean, I don't need to draw the box, but just to show you, it's basically all the same shit. They all sort of look the same. They all sort of look a little choppy to me, a little bit range bound, and I don't necessarily know if they're going to give any good trades. So, moral of the story is I'm moving with patience. I'll give it a shot if something looks good, but I'm not in a hurry. I don't think these are optimal conditions or favorable conditions for me to be entering a ton of trades. And that's how I'm looking to move forward on these assets. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. If you enjoy the video, please like and retweet the content. You can leave any or the tweet. You can leave any comments or questions below. I'll try to get to them. Thanks guys, and talk soon. Peace out.